Hi everyone, Kim here from Tiny Creations by Kim. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day today. I wanted to come on and talk to you guys for a minute about tutorials. I'm planning on starting them very soon. I'm hoping to start them with this next baby that I'm going to be painting. I'm going to be starting her next week. She will be the Starling Kit by AK Kitagawa. And she will be for sale when she's finished. I was going to keep her for my personal collection, but I changed my mind. She will be painted with a Caucasian flesh tone, and she'll have painted hair. So if you guys are interested, keep your eye out for her. And so I figured I would start with showing you guys my paintbrushes, and I will tell you what they are, and I will tell you what I use them for. Most of these brushes I have bought at Michael's or Joann's, and I hadn't gone specifically looking for any particular brush. Most of the time I was going to buy paintbrushes, I was just trying to find something that I think would allow me to achieve whatever I was trying to accomplish on the doll. So I just kind of went with my eye and just picked what I liked. Okay, so first off, I will show you guys my mops. This is one of my favorite paintbrushes. This one has not been used yet. This was purchased at Michael's. And here, this mop here, you can see it has a blue tint to it. This one I use only for blue tones when I'm mixing blue colors together. So this one I use for when I have to do blue washes for neutralizing. I use this also for the blue mottling layer. And I have a separate blue brush. I don't use one mop for, it's not universal. I use a different one with the different colors so the colors don't mix, because I have found no matter how well you wash your brush, there's always a little color left behind. And if I'm trying to mix up a flesh tone and I don't want like a blue color to it, 9 times out of 10 there's going to be some sort of blue color in it. And if I'm trying to achieve something specific, then I just ruined all that paint and I'm going to have to wipe it away and restart. And this one here is for flesh tone. And this one here, this one's really old. You can see it's all damaged, but it still gets the job done. This one here I use for my purple and red mottling layers. And this little guy here, I got this one in a package. I believe it was from Joann's. I think I got this set at Joann's. And this one I just use for wiping off the dolls before I start painting. Sometimes they collect dust, so I like to really get in the creases just to wipe the dust away. And these brushes here, these are the ones that I use for pouncing in the creases. So when you're adding a layer that is over the whole doll kit, like a wash or flesh tone layer, the paint will accumulate in the creases, and if you don't wipe that away, not necessarily wipe it, you don't want to wipe it, but if you don't get some of that paint out of the creases, it will look very dirty or powdery. So these I use just to pounce in the crease, and this one is the same thing. This is just a paintbrush that I cut. I believe this was a Filbert. This one was from Michael's, and I had cut this down. I used to use it for my creases, for blending my creases, but after so long they get frayed at the tip, so I end up just cutting them down and using them for other things. And same thing with this one. This one I got, I want to say at Michael's. And this one I also use for pouncing in the creases. My hands are really dry, I'm sorry. My yucky hands, they're so dry. They get really dry in the winter time, especially using paint thinner. Since I paint with Genesis paints, I have to mix it with paint thinner most of the time, and that stuff dries your hands out really bad. Okay, so this guy here, again, this one was actually purchased at Joann's. It's a Filbert. I used to use it for creases, but it got too frayed. So I use this one for wiping away paint, unwanted paint. A lot of the times I use this for the hair, for wiping away little hairs. And same thing for this one. This one's used, I like this one for the creases. Sometimes the creasing color gets a little too on the flesh part of the doll and not in the crease. So I use this, I damp this, and I just wipe away the extra paint. Now this one here I use for mixing my blue tones and veins. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. I use this one for mixing my blue tones and veins. So this one's just for mixing. This one is for applying my blue tones. And this one I had got in that package that I got from Joann's. And I don't even know, spotter. This one's a spotter. And you can really use anything to mix. Okay, so there's that one. And then we have, this one is used for veining. Okay, this one is a liner. And I got this in a packet of paintbrushes that my friend Stacy bought me. Hi Stacy, if you're watching. So this one, again, I use for veining. And this one here was purchased at Michael's as well. This is a liner. And this one also I use for veining. And these ones here I use for my creases. I got this one at Michael's as well. I use this one for the larger creases, like in the behind the knees and in the arm crease. And then this one here, this one's also creases. This one's a little bit smaller. This one I love using for the fingers, the hand creases. It's nice and small, so it fits in there nicely. And this little guy here is used for mixing my creasing color. So I mix my creases color with this, and I also apply it with this. I put a little dot in the crease, and then I blend it in with the brush there. Okay, these ones I use for hair. This one I haven't used in a while. This one I use for more thick hair. And lately I've been just liking to apply it more thinly with one strand at a time. This one adds multiple strands at a time. This one I purchased also at Michael's. And it came cut like this. I trimmed it up a little bit more. It was more even looking. I trimmed it a little more. I didn't like how even it was. It didn't look very realistic when I was using it for painting hair because it was so even. And this one I've cut this one down drastically. I don't even know what kind of paintbrush this was, but I'm sure a liner or something maybe. This one I bought in a package as well, and I first started painting. As you can see, it is a wooden handle, and I don't recommend these because they're usually painted, and if you're working with paint thinner, you're going to get it on your hands and it's going to rub this paint off and it's going to get all over your hands. But this one I've cut down drastically. It's very thin. I use this one for baby hairs. And this one here is a liner, also purchased at Michael's. And this is used for hair. Still got paint on it. Okay, this one is my favorite brush for painting hair. This one is one that came in the package that my friend got me. I believe she got them off Amazon, I'm not sure, but they're really nice detail brushes. They're really, really nice. I did cut it down a little bit, but this is definitely my favorite one to use for painting hair. Okay, my phone just died, so it is plugged in, so we're gonna have to finish this video on a little bit of a different angle. Okay, so this brush here I had purchased to use it for hair, and I haven't used it yet. So we'll have to wait and see if I end up using that one. This one here was from that package that my friend got me. And I use this for nails. This is one of the ones I use for the nail tips and the moons. And same thing with these ones. Try not to get a glare on there so you guys can see. This one's been cut down too. And this one I use mostly for mixing the color for the nails. Alright, this one here is an old filbert that I used to use for my creases. As you can see, it got frayed, so I cut it down and I use this now for my yellow tones. So most of the time I do a yellow mottling layer on the dolls and I do yellow tones on the face, and that's what this one's used for. This one here is used for mixing my blushing color. And again, it doesn't really matter what kind of brush you use for mixing, in my opinion at least. So that one was cut down. I forgot I cut it for some reason. I can't remember what exactly I wanted to use it for, but I cut it down, it didn't work out, so I used it just for mixing. This one I use for mixing my hair color. I bought this one, as you can see it's quite damaged. I bought this one at Joann's. Initially I wanted to use it for the creases to see if it would work for blending the creases, and it didn't work out well for me. So that one's used for mixing. This one here is also a filbert that was used at one time for creases and has been cut down, and I use this now. It's very frayed open at the end. It's used for mixing my varnish. I couldn't think of it for a second. My matte varnish at the end. And I purchased this brush. I wanted to try it out for creases, and I just wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't quite like how it made the creases look opposed to the old brushes that I had used, so I went back. So I have this one here. I'm not sure what I'll use it for. I'm sure I'll think of something. But here are all of my paint brushes. Sorry for the weird angle. I have to leave my phone plugged in or it's gonna die. Alright you guys, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much if you stuck through this whole video. I know it was kind of boring just talking about paintbrushes, but I'm going to be bringing you guys some tutorials very, very soon. So thank you guys so much for watching, and God bless.